That's hot. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Christina and welcome back to another American English lesson. Or really today is actually going to be a little bit more of a talk. So I decided to brew up a cup of tea and just kind of chat with you guys today about some things that I think are very important for you to learn English or any language really, and to learn it well. In today's American English lesson, or chat if you will, we're going to talk about 3 of the most important soft skills that you really need to have in order to learn English or any language well. And now when I say soft skills, I don't mean the skills that we always talk about and you always hear about, such as listening and reading, writing, and speaking. Although those are very important, I'm talking more about soft skills, which are more like people skills. So what do I mean exactly by people skills? What are people skills really? Or what are soft skills? Soft skills are basically people skills. We don't really learn soft skills in a workbook when we need to think analytically or in a classroom even when a teacher is lecturing us, but rather we learn soft skills when we're communicating with other people or when other people are communicating with us, when we're just out in the world doing life and learning about the world around us and our place in it. Some examples of soft skills could include things like being a good listener, or having a positive mindset, or knowing how to manage people. These are different soft skills that are very useful to us and very valuable to us later in life, but again, we don't typically learn them in a school setting. And luckily, you don't have to be born with these skills. I know you think that sometimes it just seems like some people are a natural at certain things, which they very well may be. But these are things that you are fully capable of learning. So even if you feel like you don't have one of the 3 soft skills that I'm going to mention later on in this lesson, do not worry because you can absolutely learn them. You can really learn and cultivate these skills over time, and just as they're going to help you learn English on a deeper level, they're also going to help you learn more about life, or at least think about life, on a deeper level as well. Now, there are many different soft skills that are incredibly useful to have that will help you with English, that will help you with life, whatever it may be. They're just really useful to have, but today we're only going to talk about 3 so that I can go into more detail about them. But of course, if you feel like you want to mention some others in the comments below that you think are important, then by all means do so. I would love to see what you think. Our first soft skill that we need to learn English well is attention to detail, or having attention to detail. This is so important, being detail-oriented and being observant, noticing all these different little nuances, whether it's the differences in someone's accent or their speaking style, whether they're speaking formally or informally, or whether it's helping you identify new grammar patterns. It can help you identify prefixes and suffixes and notice similar word roots and origins, which will help you with your vocabulary, it helps with your grammar, it helps with your speaking and being able to decide how you want to speak based on the details that you've noticed on how others speak. The possibilities, you guys, are just endless. Now, to be honest, this was something that I struggled with a little bit when I was probably in my late teens, early 20s or so, because I always considered myself a big picture kind of person. So I wasn't too worried about the details, which has its pros and its cons, but when you're learning a language, and also for many other things in life, it's really important to be detail-oriented and to at least be observant and notice the details. Just take the time to notice those small things that really make or break a feeling or a vibe, or correct grammar, for example, or a different English accent, or whatever it may be. So maybe if you're kind of how I was feeling before and you feel like you're not a very detail-oriented or observant person, then that's okay, because there are definitely ways that you can cultivate this and become more detail-oriented on a regular basis. It really just starts with looking all around you and taking time to notice all these different things around you, whether it's the signs of the seasons, if it's spring, are there flowers outside? What kind of flowers? Do you see the bees? Do you hear the birds? What kind of birds are they? It could be anything. Obviously, it could be a season besides spring. Or if you're talking to someone, what's their body language? Are they using any hand gestures when they move? What's their speaking style like? What are their facial expressions? What kind of mood do they appear to be in and why? What's their speaking style or their accent like? You can pay attention to all the different noises in your house. I don't know about you guys, but my house likes to make a lot of noises, whether it's the ice maker or a washing machine or dishwasher or people in the house or pets or animals in the house, whatever it may be. Or sometimes it just seems like there's a random crack in the walls. I don't know, maybe we have a ghost in our house. Identifying all the different flavors in the food that you eat can be another way that you just notice and pay attention to these different details. And really taking the time to concentrate and focus on it, think hard about it, and see what those flavors might be. Maybe even if you try to guess the spices that were used, different things like that. These are all different ways that you can become more detail-oriented. And I could honestly go on and on about this for hours because there are thousands of ways that you could become more detail-oriented, but I think you guys get the main idea. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and it was kind of the inspiration for this video a little bit when I went to the beach the other day to just recharge and to take some time alone and kind of get lost in my thoughts. And I ended up going for a walk on the beach and seeing so many different things that day just because I was paying attention and really slowing down, looking around me and taking the time to notice all these different things that many of them I had never seen on the beach before. I saw different kinds of jellyfish, I saw different kinds of bird behavior, I saw a guy flying a kite, I saw all different kinds of people, which we usually see on the beach anyway, but there were a lot of different things just from nature that if you take the time to really slow down and notice, it's like a completely different world. I even got to see dolphins while I was on my walk, which I was definitely not expecting. But had I not been paying attention, like 99% of the people around me, I would have completely missed it. Because most of them did miss it simply because they weren't really paying attention, which is fine. That's absolutely fine to be in your world and to do the things that make you happy and not really notice other things that are going around you. But there are so many things that you can see. Like I said, it's a whole new world of possibilities when you really open up your mind and pay attention. Hey guys, so I just came back from an amazing walk on the beach, and I actually kind of ended up seeing a lot of different things on the beach that I wanted to share with you guys because it dawned on me that this would be the perfect idea for a video about paying attention and looking at the details, spending time to really pay attention and observing and just slowing down and noticing all the details. For me today, it was in life on my walk on the beach, but it also works for when you're learning English too, or learning any language for that matter, because that's really how I learned Spanish after I got to a certain level with school, and school couldn't really take me much farther as far as a more advanced level speaking. Then I learned by paying attention to the details. I learned different grammar structures and vocabulary by watching movies and listening to the way people spoke and putting two and two together, that noticing that this person speaks with this kind of an accent and their style is a little bit more like this, and that noticing the patterns in the movies with the subtitles. So, okay, this is going to be the third conditional. Different things like that. When you take the time to slow down and just open up instead of only looking for your answer, again, whether it's in life or you're learning a language, then you see and observe and learn and just absorb so much more. It's almost like you've turned yourself into a sponge or something, and you're just able to soak up so much more information, which then kind of contributes to the message that I always try to give you guys, even though I know I sound like a broken record, but which is to enjoy the journey. So anyway, hopefully that helps. I'm going to flip to what I saw today and give you guys some of the footage of that, and then kind of have a little bit of a chat about that in some more detail about how you can apply it to learning English. All right? So get ready, because it's really cool. I got to see some dolphins today just by paying attention. I got to see dolphins. I got to see jellyfish, some jellyfish that I had never seen before. Different groups of sandpipers that were eating the sand, a guy that was flying a kite, and you could tell just the simple act of flying that kite made him so happy. And what else did I see? It was a sandpiper that was eating a jellyfish, which I didn't even know sandpipers ate jellyfish, for one. And just little girls playing, dogs playing together, and all the different footprints that were in the sand, different animals. And you guys, I even got to see dolphins today, which is not something that you see on every trip to the beach. So it was really, really cool. And it was, honestly, I got to see them for about 5 minutes. I recorded it too, so I'll show you a little bit of it. And do you know what was interesting was that almost nobody else noticed. Only one other couple who was walking their dog, they noticed the dolphins, but nobody else seemed to notice them, which I just thought was really interesting, because it just goes to show you all the different things you can see when you really open up your eyes and you don't just go through the motions of everything and trying to get everything done, kind of like checking off a checklist. So anyway, I'll flip to that footage now. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll talk to you guys after that about how we can apply this to learning English. Get ready. Opening your eyes consistently to all these subtle details will make you much more observant, so make sure to practice every day. The second soft skill that we need to learn English well is self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Well, it's just what it says, being aware of yourself. So what does this mean? It means knowing yourself well, knowing what you like and what you don't like, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing how you study, knowing how you learn something well, knowing how long you focus or how long you can focus well before you start to maybe get a little distracted. When do you feel confident in your abilities, and when do you feel maybe a little more self-conscious? What kinds of things hold your attention, and what types of activities do you enjoy? These are all examples of self-awareness. So let me give you an example. Since I currently homeschool my children, we've been reading the Harry Potter books all year, and they absolutely love them. Now, I could have done something like just had them fill out some boring worksheets along with the books, but that wouldn't have been very fun because I know that they don't really like to do that very much. So what did we do instead? We basically immersed ourselves into the world of Harry Potter so that we could learn so many other things, but inside the world of Harry Potter, which they know and love. We watched the movies and discussed the similarities and differences between the books and movies. We talked about which one we like better, and we supported our opinion with reasons why. We got a cookbook featuring recipes from the book so that my daughter could learn how to cook and also learn her fractions and learn multiplications by doubling or dividing the number of recipes that we were going to do. Through our discussions, we also summarized the previous chapters that we read just to kind of refresh our memories before we dove into the next chapter. And we also made predictions on the next chapters that we were about to read based on the titles or the pictures that each chapter has before it begins. We took quizzes on the Harry Potter website, we empathized with different characters, and we talked about what we would do if we were in their position. And so this really helped us with a lot of things like character analysis, making predictions, summaries, opinions, hypothetical situations, all of those different things, not to mention math and English and all these other subjects that we were learning through the world of Harry Potter. Finally, we took a vacation to Harry Potter World in Orlando, where we immersed ourselves even more into the world of Harry Potter and pretended like we were characters going through Diagon Alley and Gringotts Bank and all these different things if you are familiar with the places and characters and themes of Harry Potter. And what else did we do? We got on rides, we went through the stores, we ate at the restaurants, and it really allowed us to get a feel for what it was like to be in that world, which helps to train our mind to just think about things completely differently, and it allows for richer, more in-depth conversations and just a completely different perspective altogether, all through one topic. Just the one topic alone of Harry Potter, we were able to learn about English and math and science and cooking and critical thinking and so many different things. Think about ways that you can incorporate your own self-awareness into your English language journey, be it your study habits, your strengths and weaknesses, your likes, your dislikes, things or projects that you're currently in the middle of, different things that you want to explore in more detail, how long you tend to be able to focus, your love of music or other topics, whatever it may be. As we say in English, variety is the spice of life, which just means that if we do the same thing over and over again, it tends to get boring, and then we don't enjoy it as much if it's boring. So there are really no limits as to what you can do to incorporate your own self-awareness into your English journey to make it uniquely your own. Finally, the third soft skill that I want to talk to you about today is self-confidence, or just confidence in general. There are some of us that seem to really just exude this confidence and just being naturally confident wherever we go. And there are others of us who struggle with this a little bit more and who tend to be a little bit more self-conscious, constantly evaluating themselves, which is fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with evaluating yourself, but it does become a bit of a problem if you let it interfere with your daily life and activities. There is such a thing as evaluating yourself too much. Likewise, there's also such a thing as not evaluating yourself enough. You want to be somewhere in the middle. Hence our soft skill number 2, which is self-awareness. You see, even though it's completely normal to feel self-conscious, and we all feel self-conscious about some things at some point in time, you want to make sure that it doesn't get in the way of your speaking, which is what I hear most frequently from my students, is that they are scared of speaking with native speakers. And I completely understand this because I felt this way when I was learning Spanish. I never wanted to open my mouth to a native Spanish speaker in the south of Spain when I was living in Sevilla. No, not at all. But then I realized that by not speaking, people were just kind of glossing over me and just kind of passing over me, and I was getting ignored, and so I wasn't even being acknowledged in conversation, which I obviously didn't like. I wanted to contribute to the conversation, so I realized that I was going to have to overcome that fear of speaking. Some people are just so scared of speaking that they actually allow themselves to become paralyzed with fear. Don't let this be you. Because just how a baby has to fall down 1,000,001 times before they learn how to walk well, we have to make mistakes when we're learning another language or really anything in life in order to learn from those mistakes and get better. Nobody is born an expert. You will never learn if you allow fear to overcome you and just take over. So in order to overcome that, you have to have a mindset of, I am going to be brave today. I am going to overcome my fear by facing it. And then when we face our fears, we realize that it normally wasn't half as scary as what we expected it to be. So what are some ways that we can help ourselves to overcome our fears? Just how a muscle needs to be worked consistently in order to go stronger, our minds work the same way. One of my favorite quotes is actually from Eleanor Roosevelt, because she said, do one thing that scares you every day. Just one thing. Surely you can think of one thing that scares you every single day. Because once you start doing this on a regular basis, you won't feel so scared of fear itself. You'd be amazed at how complacent our minds become when we allow it to do so, but also how strong they become when we exercise them on a regular basis by doing these little daily practices to help us overcome our fears. We also have an expression in English that says, fake it till you make it, or fake it until you make it, which just means to act more confidently until you feel more confident. So basically, the act of acting confident is supposed to help you feel more confident, and therefore you will actually become genuinely more confident in doing so. It's crazy how our minds work, right? Just one little thing, one little daily habit that we can add to our regular practice, and it can change so many things for us, and it can increase your confidence like that. Also, keep in mind that if you aren't making any mistakes in English, then you're probably not doing enough speaking or enough production of the language and putting yourself out there, whether it's through your writing or your speaking. Because if you really are doing enough, which should be a lot, then that means that you're also going to make mistakes. Remember, no mistakes probably means you're likely not doing enough. And I don't say that in order to discourage you. I actually want to encourage you to feel happy and content with making mistakes and even excited because it's an opportunity to learn. All right, everybody, so this is going to conclude our lesson, or our little tea chat or coffee chat, if you will, on English and the 3 skills that you really need to have in order to learn English well. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next lesson. Bye, guys.